Good morning, class. Hello, my name is Khushbu and I will be teaching economics today. Okay, what is the date today? 15 Feb 26. Okay, so today's topic is sectors of Indian economy. Okay, sectors of Indian economy. Okay, so uh, tell me the basic question what are the basic needs of human are food, clothing, shelter, etc. Okay, and from where is food produced? Food कहाँ से produced होता है? Food कहाँ से आता है? From agriculture sector. Okay, and from where cloth is come? From where cloth do come? In which factory cloth is made? Cloth is made in कॉटन इंडस्ट्री, टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्रीज में हो बनते हैं क्लोथ्स. ठीक है, तो ये जो एक्टिविटीज है, दीज एक्टिविटीज आर कॉल्ड एज इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज. एंड these activities like producing services or producing goods like agriculture, mining, fishing, or services like transportation, communication, trade, these activities are classified into three broad categories, that is primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. So there are three sectors of the Indian economy. Primary sector, primary sector, this is also called as agriculture sector or agriculture sector. Okay, secondary sector, this sector is also called as industrial sector, and third is tertiary sector, and this sector is also called as service sector. So we will study all these three sectors in detail now. Okay, so what are the natural resources? What are the natural resources? Natural resources are like sun, water, wildlife, all the things that are available as a resource to humans, that are natural, that are not man-made but are natural. Okay, like who produces milk? Cow produces milk. So cow is a natural resource who gives you a milk. Right? So what are the primary sector activities? Primary sector activities include where the direct use of natural resources is there, where raw materials is produced by using directly natural resources. Okay, here natural resources are being used and raw materials are produced by using the natural resources. For example, agriculture. For example, agriculture. Agriculture activities comes under primary sector. Why? Because agriculture is all dependent upon natural resources. For example, we have to cultivate cotton. So cultivation of cotton is fully dependent upon the sunlight, the climate, water, temperature, etc. So cultivation of food is primarily dependent upon natural resources. So here cultivation of cotton is dependent upon natural resources. Raw material, that is cotton. We are getting cotton by using the natural resources. Also, for example, fishing activities comes under primary activities, where by fishing we get fish. In also forestry activities, where by forestry activities we get wood, timber, fiber, etc. Also, like dairy activities comes under the primary sector, where cow is used to produce milk. We what we give cow to so that they produces milk. We give them fodder, we feed them grass. So fodder is a type of grass that is given to the cow so that they produces milk. Okay, so cow is a natural resources, and raw material, what is raw material is produced here? Milk. So what is primary activities? Are you clear about it? Where natural resources are used to produce raw materials. Okay, for example, agriculture, mining activities comes under primary activities, where coal, minerals and other fuels are the raw materials which we get through mining activity. Okay, mining, fishing, forestry, dairy, that is why it is also known as agriculture sector. Okay, it forms a base for other sectors. It gives raw materials, and we will study next, that is secondary sector. So raw materials is used in the secondary sector, so it forms a base for other products. Okay, okay, are you clear about what is primary sector? Yes, good. Now secondary sector. Sure. Secondary sector. Okay, okay, so from where sugar is made? How is sugar produced? Sugar is produced through sugar cane. By transforming sugar cane we get sugar. By from manufacturing industries, transform sugar cane into sugar. So what is the secondary sector? Where secondary sector include activities where the raw materials are transformed into finished goods. Okay, where raw materials are transformed into finished goods. For example, textile industry. For example, textile industry. Here all industries comes under secondary sector. Textile industry, for example, we use cotton and we through spinning and weaving we transform cotton into clothes. ये clothes कैसे बनते हैं? By transforming cotton through spinning and weaving, right? So textile industries comes under secondary sector, where the raw materials are transformed into final goods. Okay, also construction activities comes under secondary sector. Construction, why construction activities comes under the secondary sector? Because here soil is transformed into bricks. How bricks are made? Through soil. So here raw material, that is soil, is transformed into bricks, and bricks are used for the construction purpose. So are you clear what is secondary sector? Where raw materials are transformed into finished goods. Okay. Through manufacturing. And this activity, which includes transforming natural resources into other forms through manufacturing, comes under secondary sector. Okay, food production, like making sugar through sugar cane, comes under The secondary sector is food production, textile industry, and construction. Okay, all industries comes under secondary sector, where the natural products or raw materials are transformed into other products. Okay. Oh, now comes tertiary sector. Okay. So what are the means of transport? Means of transports are tractors, trucks, cars, bullock carts, rickshaws. These are the means of transport. So can we move goods freely from one place to another through transport? Yes, we can move. So what is tertiary sector? Tertiary sector involves services like shifting goods from one place to another, or selling. Selling is the services. So what tertiary sector do? Tertiary sector supports or helps primary sector and secondary sector. It performs services rather than producing goods. All the services comes under tertiary sector. Okay. And tertiary sector also contributes the most to the GDP. Like 55% is contributed by tertiary sector to the India's economy, India's GDP. And whereas agriculture sector is only contribution is एग्रीकल्चर का contribution सिर्फ 18% है, and secondary sector का contribution 25%. So tertiary sector is the main sector which contributes more to the India's economy, India's GDP. Okay. So what is tertiary sector? Tertiary sector is the sector where services are produced rather than goods. It supports primary sector and secondary sector. For example, transport, through transporting goods from one place to another. Okay. Trading activities like wholesale, retail sellers. These sellers, what do these sellers do? They help in selling the goods and services that is produced by the secondary sector. Okay. Communication, and all the other services like healthcare, health advice given by the doctor comes under tertiary sector. Okay. Here human resource is used. Here investment is done on human resource so that services are produced in a effective way. Okay. Alright. Are you clear about tertiary sector? Yes. Cool. Now we will compare all these three sectors. So what is, just we have to do a recap. What is a primary sector? What will the definition of primary sector? Primary sector involves extraction and harvesting of natural resources. What is the secondary sector? It involves manufacturing and producing of goods. And what is tertiary sector? It involves the production of services to the businessmen and consumers. Okay. So this is the comparison of three sectors. Another comparison is like what activities comes under primary sector. What activities comes under primary sector? Agriculture, mining, forestry, fishing, dairy. These are the activities that comes under primary sector. And what activities comes under secondary sector? Manufacturing goods, textile industry, construction. And what comes under tertiary sector? Like services like banking, retail, healthcare, trade, communication. All these are the services that comes under tertiary sector. Okay, what is the contribution to GDP? As I had told you earlier, the contribution of tertiary sector is the most, that is 55%. It contributes to the economic growth. Whole economy के growth इस पे depend होता है tertiary sector पे. And what is the role of primary sector to contribution of GDP? It is 18%. It only it focuses on management of natural resources only. So only 18% is the contribution of primary sector to the India's economy. And for in secondary sector, what is the contribution of secondary sector? It is 25%. Okay, all right. Focus, what is the focus of primary sector? Focus क्या है? Extraction and harvesting of raw materials. Okay, primary sector का हो गया. Secondary sector का focus क्या है? Transformation of raw materials into finished goods. And tertiary sector का providing services. Okay. Examples I have told you earlier. इकोनॉमिक रोल, इकोनॉमी में इसका रोल क्या है? इकोनॉमी में प्राइमरी सेक्टर का रोल है प्रोवाइड करवाना रॉ मटेरियल, टू प्रोवाइड रॉ मटेरियल्स. और सेकेंडरी सेक्टर का एड्स वैल्यू टू द रॉ मटेरियल्स एंड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन इट इनटू द फिनिश गुड्स. ओके, सेकेंडरी सेक्टर का क्या रोल है? फिनिश गुड्स प्रोवाइड कराना. टर्शियरी सेक्टर का क्या रोल है? टू प्रोवाइड सर्विसेज, supports and facilitate economic activities of primary sector and secondary sector by providing services. Contribution to GDP, primary sector contributes to the initial stage of development. Secondary sector contributes to industrial growth, industry के growth का में contribution होता है इसका, manufacturing industries में contribution होता है. ठीक है. Tertiary sector contributes to economic growth थ्रू सर्विस प्रोविजन कंजम्पशन. पूरी इकोनॉमी इस पे डिपेंड होती है टर्शियरी सेक्टर पे कि क्या सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड हो रही हैं. जैसे कि हमारे देश में कितनी बैंकिंग सर्विसेज है, कितनी हेल्थ सर्विसेज है, मेडिकल सर्विसेज कैसी है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सर्विसेज कैसी है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैसा है. तो ये सब जो सारी चीज़ टर्शियरी सेक्टर में आ रही है, तो जाहिर सी बात है कि इसका इकोनॉमी रोल ज़्यादा ही हुआ, राइट. क्योंकि सर्विसेज, सारी सर्विसेज यहाँ पे जो सर्विसेज हम लोग लेते हैं अपने लिए, वो सारी इसमें आती हैं. इसलिए इट कंट्रीब्यूट्स मोर टू द जीडीपी. इन्वेस्टमेंट, व्हाट इज द इन्वेस्टमेंट डन इन प्राइमरी सेक्टर? इट फोकसेस ओनली ऑन लैंड मैनेजमेंट एंड रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट. ठीक है, खाली लैंड मैनेजमेंट पे फोकस है इसका, खाली एग्रीकल्चर तक इसका फोकस है. ठीक है. और सेकेंडरी सेक्टर का क्या फोकस है? इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे इन्वेस्ट करना, मशीनरी पे इन्वेस्ट करना, टेक्नोलॉजी पे इन्वेस्ट करना. ओके, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन फैक्ट्रीज, मशीनरी एंड टेक्नोलॉजी. टर्शियरी सेक्टर का किस पे इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है? इन्वेस्टमेंट इन सर्विस, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज. इस पे ह्यूमन रिसोर्स पे ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है, मतलब कि एजुकेशन पे ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. और ह्यूमन एम्प्लॉयमेंट पे ज़्यादा फोकस है, टू गिव एम्प्लॉयमेंट टू द ह्यूमन सो दैट we can use human resources effectively wherever it is used. All right, so these were the comparisons of primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. I hope you are well aware of these three sectors now and you can write it properly on your exams. Thank you.